Alright, so I'm going to preface this by saying I am Southern. I do have an accent, so Hillbilly to English translator sold separately. Now that that's out of the way, a lot of you guys I've seen on the forum, still a lot of questions about wheeling, how to wheelie, especially concerning the DRZ. So I told you guys I put together a little how to wheelie video, so this is my little effort at that. And I'll apologize too, I've got like a little bit of a cold or sinus thing going on, so if you hear me clear my throat or something, I apologize in advance. Years ago, about 4 years ago actually, when I got the DRZ and I got started in Supermoto, I watched Samurai Jim's How to Wheelie Supermoto video, and it helped me like you wouldn't believe, because it's all in the technique. It's all in how you slip the clutch, how much, when you let it go. It's all in the timing of everything. So, what we're going to focus on today is some guys have talked about clutching the DRZ in third. It won't do it, this and that. So we're going to go over that. And then the other thing we're going to go over is a lot of guys are asking how to shift in a wheelie. And I know it sounds real easy, but you know, if you've never done it before, it's just one of those things that can be a little intimidating. So we'll go over that too. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Literally, I know a car just went by, but that's a freak thing. I'm like 25 miles from the nearest town on a little abandoned Forest Service road. So that's as close as I can get to closed course. So, moving forward, there's some guys I really want to thank personally for helping me. Hollywood 33 and Daddy Smut, those two guys really helped me a lot with my wheeling. They'd seen some of my videos riding the 50 and told me, you know, you got it. Just, you know, you just got to put your big boy panties on and bring it further back. You know, just cover the brake, you'll be fine. Another one is Stubbs. Stubbs really gave me a ton of good advice via PM and via some of the wheelie threads. He was really patient and gave me a lot of good pointers, and I really appreciate that, guys. My wheelies wouldn't be where they're at today without you. And don't get it wrong, I'm no wheelie expert by any means. One other good piece of advice I got that I found was interesting, I'm going to use this stick here to illustrate it. 225 has a friend in Louisiana that stunt rides, and he told him when he was trying to learn to wheelie, I'm going to move my stuff here. What I used to do is, you know, the DRZ is weak, and I really thought, you know, that you got to sit like back here, back at the very back. And so what that causes, really you need something with more weight, like a broom. But if you grab a broom by the very end and you try to hold it at that angle that, you know, the bike needs to be at, you know, it gets to the point that weight wants to kind of move and go all over the place. So 225 and Stubbs both told me, they said, no, just, you know, you may slide back just a little, but really you're going to sit where you normally sit when you're riding the bike. And the reason being, you're dead center as far as the vertical axis of gravity for the bike. And that's really where you want to be. And what that does is, like I say, if you pick up your household broom and try to hold it like this, there's a lot of weight. It's trying to go all over the place. Whereas if you hold it up here, you can make it do whatever you want to do, and you got a lot of control over it. So that's my little explanation for that. My little Mr. Wizard session for the day, if you please. The bike is a 2008 DRZ 400 SM, obviously. I've done the FCR. It's got the E-cams in there. Personally, what I did after doing some reading on Thumper Talk, I tore back into it. I have the E-cam on the intake, and I have the stock cam on the exhaust. The reason for that, to me, the E-cams would be great if you're on a track and you're really, really wringing the bike out all the time. But let's face it, we don't ride around at 9,500 RPM all the time. So personally, for my taste, I prefer the combo of the E intake and the stock exhaust. It just has a bigger mid-range hit, and it just runs better for what I do. So that's my take on that. Your mileage may vary. Bike has the MRD SSW full exhaust. I have the 3x3 under the seat, and then my engine tuner also, underneath this right side number panel, he took a hole saw and put a bunch of holes here when he dyno tuned it. And I picked up some power that way, and according to him, even with the 3x3, once you put the seat back on, you can watch it on the dyno. It really just, it's still starving for air if you really want to get the most out of it. So pretty much that's the only things that have been done to this bike. I did a manual cam chain tensioner when I put the cams in. Beyond that, this bike is stock. It's got 17,401 miles on it. I've put all but 3 of those on the bike, and from about the 75 mile mark, the bike's just been abused. I'm not going to lie to you. Like I say, I got a 50, and this thing is just a big 50 for me, and I've just been having fun with it. That's another good tip, you know, on the subject of a 50. If you don't have a 50, find a friend who does. Go buy one, whatever. But, oh, excuse me. A 50 to me is an invaluable tool to teach you to wheelie. When I was growing up riding dirt bikes, I hated wheelies. I was terrified of them because right when the bike got to that point where you're getting to balance point and it starts feeling weightless, I would freak out and think the bike was going to come in on me. And usually I would either let out of it and the front would fall. Worst case scenario, I would go too far, didn't know how to cover the brake, didn't know anything about it, and I would go off the back and the bike goes down, you know, and rashes the bike up, and etc., etc. But, you know, a friend of mine that I met a few years ago, he had a 50, and I literally like laughed him out of the room when he told me he had a 50, because this guy's like 6'2", about 215, and I was like, well, you know, what do you ride it in the living room? And so, you know, he brings me over to his house and shows me this thing and how it's all set up with Ryan Moore's parts from 50 Stunt for stunt riding and the handbrake and all this stuff. So he takes me out to a parking lot, and literally within an hour he had me riding second gear balance point wheelies all the way across the parking lot using the brake to save myself. And I was like, man, I gotta have one of these. So I picked one up and been riding it ever since. I love it. It's a lot of fun. A lot less risky than the big bike, a lot less at stake. So, you know, you can pick them up cheap. They're tons of fun. Even once you learn to wheelie them, you know, you can go beyond that and start learning circle wheelies and things like that. So anyway, that's a good thing to do. Beyond that, my other tips for learning to wheelie: gear up. It's supposed to be in the high 90s here today. I'm wearing one-piece leathers, road race boots, gauntlet gloves, and obviously my helmet. You know, I'm one of those guys, I'm an ATGAT guy. For those of you that don't know, that's all the gear all the time. If I'm actually out riding, you know, versus just going to run to the store or something, I'm wearing my gear. I've had asphalt scrubbed out of me when I was a kid. I don't care to repeat that process. It is not pleasant at all, and I don't want to do it again. So we're going to get the bike turned around. Like I say, it's hot today, so I'm huffing and puffing a little bit. So we're going to go up, turn around. Can't see real good to pull out right here. And we'll get this started. Hopefully you can still hear me over the bike. Here we go. And you know, obviously with the DRZ in second, just hammer the thing and it'll come up a little bit, but not a whole lot. Road's a little dirty. You can see there's some gravel here and there. So we want to avoid that. Definitely don't want to be doing a how-to video and turn it into a how-to crash and slide down the pavement properly video. Again, it's you know, I see like Jim keyed in on, and I hope no one takes this as any disrespect for Jim. Like I say, his video helped me more than you can imagine. This is more a tribute than anything. As Jim mentioned, you're not doing this and letting the clutch go. You know, you're not staging up for a burnout at the local strip. You know, it's more of a quick slip of the clutch. And I'll show you a little bit here. I don't see anything coming. What you want to do is just, it's that kind of thing. You know, it's just it's a very quick, just one finger on the clutch. You know, I run the ASV lever like Jim had, simply because I like the shorty. It doesn't hit my ring finger when I'm clutching it. Doesn't cause me any problems, doesn't get in my way, and I can one finger. So again, the get out of this corner here. The clutch slip is just a very quick, that kind of thing. You know, just lean back, straighten your arms at the same time, and the bike will just come right up and meet you, you know. Another thing I see a lot of guys doing, and I've had guys argue with me that they're not doing it. And I'll go out and I'll video them. I'll get right beside of them or stand off to the side with a stationary camera and videotape them. As soon as the bike starts to come up, instead of holding their position and leaning back with the bike, they start inching forward. I think part of that is because our brains tell us to, because we can't see anymore. You know, you can't see over the bars, you can't see over the front of the bike when it starts coming up. And so, you know, subconsciously your brain's telling you you have to see, you moron, lean forward. And I think part of that is just, you know, and I was guilty of it too when I first started. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a habit you need to be aware of, and you need to work to break it. You know, I did it on the 50. And the way I learned to break it is my buddy told me. He said, when you know you're going to get ready to wheelie, he said, make sure you're centered in the seat. Make sure all your weight is on your ass, because if you're pushing on either foot peg, the bike's going to go that way. He said, what you want to do is you just want to time it. And the 50's no different. Even with the auto clutch, you got to time that little brap where it throws you back. And you just straighten your arms out. That way you know you're pulling evenly on both bars with your weight. Now, again, you're not tugging on the bars. You're just shifting weight. And if you just straighten your arms and lay back, it'll come up dead straight every time, I promise you. As long as you just relax, keep all your weight on your ass, straighten those arms, lean back, and all you got to do is just that was third. So you just shit. Go turn around here. Make sure nothing's coming, and we're going to whip it around. Alright, so for shifting, I'm going to show this, let's go ahead and let's do a third gear first. First, second, third. So we're in third gear. We're going to catch this about 35. What I like to do is give it a little throttle, then slip the clutch. You're going to have to tug a little bit. Then go ahead and bump your shift and go on. And again, it's all about like catching your shift. That's going to drop the RPMs. It's going to make the bike less twitchy. It's just going to make your life easier. Now for shifting, that was second through fifth. Again, I'm a little rusty this year. I haven't rode a whole lot this year, so some of this is going to be a little rusty for me. I just haven't had the seat time I'm used to this year, so my stuff's a little rusty too. Alright, we got a little short straightaway here. We'll get in the middle, do our turn. Now, for shifting in a wheelie, all you got to do is preload that shifter. I'm going to show you without wheeling. All you got to do is preload it, let out of the throttle, and shift. It's not going to hurt the bike. Transmissions are undercut. They're made to do it. A lot of guys do it on the track as long as you're upshifting. So let's try another third gear here. We got about 35. Nope. Oh yeah, baby, nice and pretty. That was third to fourth. Fourth is my favorite gear. What I usually do is I clutch the bike in third, I clutch the bike in second. I shift the third pretty quick, get my altitude where I want it, and then I short shift the fourth almost immediately. Couple reasons for that. Excuse me. One, it drops your RPMs way down, and what that does for you is it does two things. One, when the RPMs drop like that, the throttle isn't as twitchy. I know it's a DRZ, no funny comments about that. Anyway, it makes the throttle less touchy and sensitive, because you're so low in the RPM range. It's really smooth, it's really forgiving. The other thing it does is when you short shift like that and get those RPMs way down, what it does is it leaves you a whole lot of gear to work with. And for me, once I start getting a gear really wound out, it gets to the point that the engine brake in that gear really starts messing with me. I want the RPMs low enough to where I can kind of coast a little bit and just have my foot on the brake. And again, cover that brake. Always cover your brake. I used it 2 or 3 times right there in that wheelie. It will save you. Promise you, it will save you every time. Just trust me on that one. So, you know, a little third. So again, you know, third gear will do it. You just got to help it a little bit. It's all timing. You know, I mean, it's still a DRZ. It's still 35, 40 horsepower. It's still a heavy, fat-ass pig of a bike. It's a girl's bike. I mean, come on. But they're a great bike. Now, alternatively, what you can do, you can stand up. You can bounce it up. My timing was off on that one, but you can bounce it up, and as it's coming up, you can sit back down, bump your shift, and go on. Some guys like to do it that way. Personally, I'd rather clutch it. I find it more consistent, more controllable. That's just me. Again, your mileage may vary. Alright, we got a little straightaway here. Go ahead and get turned. Make sure nobody's coming. Looks like the coast is clear. So once we get up here in the little straightaway by the overlook, we'll do it again. And I mean, all this comes with time, guys. This is lots and lots of practice on my part. It really is. And that was just third to fourth. You know, again, if you get it back there far enough, you can just kind of get it to its happy point and just ride it out. That's all you got to do. And I just hate riding this curvy road between straightaways, I'll tell you. It's just torture. A little gravel in the road. There's a no clutch shift there. Like I say, as long as you're upshifting, as long as you let out of it, the bike will be fine. One thing to remember though, I've had this happen to me. Transmission is already under pressure, so when you let off the gas, it's going to go up really easy. What can happen is you can get in between gears. That's not good for your transmission, not good for your bike, and technically not good for you if it throws you back down into the gear below at high RPM. You get a lot of engine braking immediately when you didn't want that. So what you need to do is when you load that, just like I just did there, you want a nice firm positive shift until you feel that shifter stop. You want to make sure that you actually shifted and you're in the gear above that you wanted. Alright, so here we go. We'll do a second to third to fourth. Fifth. Had to tap the brake and save that one. Fifth got a little out there. Again, just cover that brake. Brake's your friend. It's always going to save you. I promise you. One thing I did, though, I'm going to mention on the rear brake. When I got the bike, I didn't like how touchy the rear brake was. I've been used to the drum brakes on the 50. So what I did was I took my brakes and I adjusted them. And I ran them down and made them a little bit looser. I don't like them really grabby. I want them very progressive for the rear brake. I want to be able to work it a little bit without it slamming the bike down on the pavement. And that's important. See if I can get the bounce up technique here to show you guys. I'm kind of crappy at that. Some guys can do it. There we go, no clutch, 3rd to 4th. Working the brake, little brake. Steer, baby, come on. Yeah. No clutch there with that shift again. So that's it. There you have it. I mean, there's not a lot to it. The big thing is seat time. I mean, it's just practice, practice, practice. And, you know, for me, for my own self, it was getting over that fear. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. You know, the big bike's different. Balance point is way the hell back there. You can't see a damn thing. You know, I got a lot of time and money invested in the bike. You know, your speeds are higher. The risks are greater. You know, there's some fear involved. That's just part of it. That's perfectly normal, perfectly natural. And you know, if you spend some time with it, it's nothing you can't work with and overcome. You know, I still have some fear of it for certain things at times, you know, and I've put all 17,000 miles on this bike. Fear's healthy. Fear's what keeps you alive. Fear's what will get you to be an old man. Get a little rip in here. Damn gravel in the road is not helping. But that's it. I'm gonna take it easy. This is Forest Service, and Forest Service guys can they can make for a long day for you depending on what kind of mood they're in. So I'm going to back it down a little bit, just cruise, cool off. I'm burning up, go get something to drink, get a little gas for the ride home. But anyway, that's it. That's my crappy little how-to on wheelies. You know, I'm more than happy. I live here. I'm more than happy to come back up here and do another version or work on any specific things that you guys see that you'd like me to go over in a little bit more detail. So just let me know. Like I say, hopefully this helps a few people. Samurai Jim's video helped me more than anything, and Jim, Godspeed, brother. And like I say, this is like my little tribute to his video, just kind of continuing what I think that he would have done if he were still with us. So that's it for me, guys. I'm out. Later.